Let's start with Caitlin and the ability to share everything that is on the floor and off the floor with Clark.
Yeah, she's just a smart player. You already see what she's done in her rookie season, and I think she gets the ball to people in the right positions to help them be successful. So that's huge, and I'm hoping that I can give her a little bit more leadership and knowledge for her to understand this league a little bit better. And like I said, when playoffs hit, she'll be ready.
This iconic veteran just brought her championship DNA to the Indiana Fever, and the chemistry with rising phenoms like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston might be downright explosive. Some are calling it the perfect storm, but rumblings of hidden clashes could rock the entire WNBA. Indiana fans have felt the heartbreak of near misses for years. Last season's late surge teased something big, but it still wasn't enough to break through the playoff wall. Critics questioned whether the young core had the grit to finish tough games, but that's not all. Once the final buzzer ended their hopes, the Fever vowed to return stronger than ever. Nobody saw DeWanna coming to Indiana. She's more than an all-star. She's a proven winner forged by nail-biting playoff battles and unforgettable triumphs. Landing one of the league's most accomplished veterans sends a loud message. But listen to this. Adding Bonner didn't just fill a roster spot, it signaled that the Fever are done playing it safe. Her arrival shines a spotlight on the franchise's deeper hunger. You can see it in Caitlin Clark, who can bury a shot from practically any distance, and Aaliyah Boston, ready to dominate the paint without apology. They're not just flashy names, they could be the building blocks of a dynasty. But here's the kicker. Fans have heard big promises before, and they're tired of watching talent slip through the cracks. The WNBA is crawling with super teams, and if this new-look Fever can't click, they risk becoming another cautionary tale. But it gets crazier. Should these stars find their rhythm, they could flip the league's balance of power overnight. Will they collapse under the weight of expectation, or rewrite the narrative entirely? That's only scratching the surface, but that wasn't the whole story. Headlines buzz about DeWanna wanting to be closer to family, but whispers say there's a deeper motive. But that's not all. Some insiders claim she was frustrated with her evolving role in Connecticut, while others insist she craved the spotlight of a team hungry for a true centerpiece. What's beyond doubt is Bonner's near obsession with injecting championship DNA into Indiana. She's openly praised the Fever's grit during their last playoff run, calling them just a key piece or two away from serious contention. But listen to this. In Bonner's mind, that missing link isn't just her physical game, it's intangible leadership, the kind that only comes from weathering high-stakes postseason battles. Speculation also points to personal ambitions fueling her move. The thought of joining forces with Caitlin Clark, whose court-wide shooting range shook the basketball world even before she turned pro, was too tempting to pass up. But here's the kicker. For every insane highlight reel, doubters wonder if Clark can handle the WNBA's physical grind, or if her unwavering confidence could ruffle veterans and fracture team chemistry. Then Bonner raised eyebrows by giving Clark her immediate stamp of approval, something rookies usually have to earn through grueling seasons. But it gets crazier. Her open praise sparked league-wide chatter. Is Bonner simply playing politics, or does she genuinely see Clark as a generational talent poised to reshape Indiana's fortunes? Ultimately, a championship run depends on how well veterans and newcomers gel under pressure. But here's the wild part. If tension flares, it could obliterate the Fever's hopes. If unity takes hold, the team might steamroll the WNBA. And what happened next would shock everyone. Speaking of Caitlin Clark, her rise has been legendary. But that's not all. While fans can't get enough of her swagger and jaw-dropping three-pointers, skeptics point out she's never faced the WNBA's unforgiving playoff grind, where a single adjustment can make or break even the most hyped prospects. Supporters argue that Clark's skill set obliterates typical rookie expectations, citing her knack for turning average teammates into lethal weapons. But here's the kicker. DeWanna, a veteran who's squared off against some of the league's greatest guards, has openly praised Clark's leadership potential, suggesting the hype train might be on the right track. Still, controversy brews beneath the surface, with insiders whispering that Clark's growing fame could overshadow veterans who've paid their dues. But listen to this. Some fear Bonner's fierce competitiveness could clash with a rookie grabbing headlines, while others believe Bonner's guidance might be the shield Clark needs to dodge the dreaded sophomore slump. All eyes are on Indiana's locker room dynamics, especially as Clark's highlights overtake social media feeds. But that's not the whole story. Coaches have to juggle feeding her the ball without neglecting established scorers like Kelsey Mitchell, a tightrope act that could either elevate the Fever or tear them apart from the inside. Behind closed doors, most agree the Clark-Bonner duo could be unstoppable if they find their groove. But it gets crazier. On paper, Bonner's playoff-tested nerves mesh perfectly with Clark's fearless energy, yet even so-called super teams have collapsed under massive expectations, and the tension was just getting started. Another name is critical to this puzzle: Natasha Howard, whose championship pedigree now pairs with DeWanna Bonner's winning mentality in Indiana. But that's not all. Two veterans who've actually felt the weight of a trophy could supercharge the growth of Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, or create leadership overlap that sparks chaos. Some fans are already whispering about hierarchy conflicts, but listen to this. Howard and Bonner both thrived as the voice of reason on their former teams, so the question is whether they can combine forces without stepping on each other's toes in nail-biter moments. Meanwhile, the league is buzzing over the frontline tandem of Howard and Boston. But here's the kicker. Boston's already feared in the paint, yet she stands to gain even more from Howard's defensive mastery, while Bonner can stretch the floor and open lanes for both post players. In a perfect world, this synergy becomes a dream team, a blend of seasoned champions and rising stars under one banner. But the real challenge, balancing minutes and touches without undercutting anyone's strengths. One misstep could derail the Fever, one smart game plan could set them on a title run. Bonner has even hinted that mentoring Aaliyah Boston is as big a reason for her move as teaming up with Clark. But it gets crazier. She believes Boston could evolve into the league's most unstoppable post threat, and that kind of unwavering faith might finally push Indiana over the edge. Yet a different controversy was about to surface. Locker room chemistry can be the difference between a ring and a first-round exit. While everyone's excited about the possibilities, unconfirmed reports suggest not all the existing Fever players are thrilled about the massive spotlight fixated on the new arrivals. Some fear the hype could overshadow their own accomplishments. Others worry that young stars might get complacent if media attention keeps praising them. Win or lose, Kelsey Mitchell, for instance, has toiled away as one of the league's most underrated scorers. Now, with Bonner, Clark, and Howard entering the conversation, will Mitchell get the credit she deserves if the team succeeds? During internal meetings, certain individuals, whose names remain hush-hush, have expressed concern that the front office is leaning too heavily on outside signings, potentially sidelining the players who've been loyal to Indiana for years. But that's the nature of building a contender. Sometimes established veterans join a budding team, and the original core either adapts or risks getting left behind. Teams that manage to unify these groups often make deep playoff runs. Those that don't fall apart under pressure. Meanwhile, fans are loving the new super team talk. Ticket sales are spiking and the hype machine is spinning, yet a section of the fan base remains skeptical, remembering false dawns in the past. They want more than talk. They want to see that synergy on the court. For Bonner's part, she's vocal about praising her new teammates while also pushing them hard in practice. Word is, she's unafraid to call out mistakes, no matter who's making them. In the grand scheme, that might be exactly what the Fever need, a no-nonsense leader who's won championships and demands accountability from rookies and veterans alike. But will that approach rub people the wrong way? If the going gets tough, and that's where things take an unexpected turn. Stepping away from the rumor mill, let's talk tangible basketball strategy. Bonner's skill set immediately changes how opponents defend the Fever. She can stretch the floor, put the ball on the deck, and guard multiple positions. Opponents can't just key in on Clark's sharpshooting or Boston's post dominance anymore. They also have to account for a battle-tested all-star who's willing to exploit any mismatch she sees. This newfound versatility could unlock Kelsey Mitchell's full potential. Mitchell has shown flashes of brilliance when freed from double teams. Now, with Bonner and Clark commanding so much defensive attention, Mitchell might see more open lanes and cleaner perimeter looks. It's a situation that could catapult her into the MVP conversation, assuming she embraces her role amid all these changes. Then, there's Aaliyah Boston. She proved last season that she's on track to become one of the league's premier bigs. Bonner's presence might allow Boston to operate one-on-one in the post more often, forcing defenders to pick their poison. Some scouts are already predicting a breakout, akin to the league's greatest front-court legends. Bonner's one-on-one tutoring could be a game changer, especially in crucial playoff moments when younger players sometimes falter. But behind the scenes, the staff is keenly aware that heightened expectations can be a double-edged sword. The higher the hype, the harsher the fallout if the team struggles. They've been ramping up their analytics department, scouring film, and devising sets that maximize everyone's strengths. Privately, coaches have admitted that forging chemistry between old and new might take time. Yet Bonner isn't asking for time. She wants to win now. At 35, she's well aware that her playing window won't last forever. This urgency could either light a fire under the fever or create tension if younger players feel pressured to deliver immediate results. Balancing that sense of win now with grow for the future is a delicate dance, but a late-breaking revelation would turn everything upside down. It's impossible to ignore the broader WNBA landscape. The league has never been more competitive, with teams like Las Vegas, New York, and Seattle hogging headlines. The Fever aim to barge into that conversation, and many believe that's precisely why Bonner's leadership was so crucial. She knows how to overcome top-tier rosters, having done it repeatedly. One rumor making waves suggests that if this season starts slowly, Bonner might demand roster adjustments, perhaps even a mid-season trade for another key piece. While nothing is confirmed, the fact that people are even discussing that possibility highlights the intensity of this campaign. Could the Fever risk fracturing their young core to appease a win-now mindset? Then, there are the hush-hush questions about Caitlin Clark's endurance. She's never played such a demanding schedule before, and some wonder if her body can handle an 82-game grind, counting preseason, regular season, and a potential deep playoff run. Bonner's well-documented training regimen might help Clark adapt, but some argue that no one truly grasps the physical toll of a professional season until they live it. On top of all this is the looming sense that Indiana's front office is determined to position the Fever as the next powerhouse. Sponsorship deals, media campaigns, even local community events point to a push toward national prominence. Bonner, Clark, Mitchell, Boston, and Howard are the faces of this grand vision. But if the puzzle pieces don't fit, the disappointment could be colossal. Still, the team has heard it all. Doubters insisting they lack the synergy to dethrone the WNBA's elite. Those inside the organization remain confident. They see a group that's bonded by the desire to make history, not just incremental improvements. Which brings us to the biggest question of all. Is this just another overhyped WNBA story? Or is Indiana about to unleash a dynasty no one saw coming? Anna Bonner didn't sign up for a rebuilding project. She came here to win. Caitlin Clark isn't content with personal accolades. She's aiming to break barriers and rewrite the record books. Aaliyah Boston is determined to prove she's the future of the front court. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard round out a cast so formidable that it could overwhelm the league if they truly unite. The path ahead is laden with potential pitfalls. Injuries can happen, ego clashes can escalate. The lights of a championship chase can expose any flaw. Yet if the Fever's leaders can harness this fire, we might witness the birth of the WNBA's next powerhouse. Imagine the highlight reels, Clark sinking insane buzzer beaters, Bonner scoring 30 points in a playoff clincher, Boston controlling the boards with unstoppable might, and Howard locking down the opposing team's star. It's exhilarating to imagine, but it's also a tall order. The real drama lies in how swiftly they can mesh. Team building isn't a formula. It's an evolving process filled with trial, error, and adaptation. For the Fever to reach the apex, they'll need to trust each other through every bump in the road, especially when the pressure mounts in the postseason. And if things click the way Bonner envisions, this team won't just compete for a ring, they'll fight to create a legacy, a new era in Fever basketball. Few rosters in recent memory have balanced this much proven talent with so much explosive potential. If they find the right chemistry, the rest of the league might be forced to play catch-up for years to come. What do you think? Share your thoughts below, give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth stories that go beyond the box score. This journey is only beginning, and the upcoming twists may shock us all. Keep watching, stay curious, and we'll catch you in the next one.